Alright guys, so here's the AliExpress sale video. So I'm going to be doing this a little bit differently than I normally do. So there's going to be a few that I've actually got in, haven't had a chance to get around to doing the reviews yet. So they're going to be like mini reviews almost. But then I'm going to be doing some others that I've actually got coming in, haven't received yet. And then the rest are just going to be ones I find interesting or I think are really good deals. So a bit of a mixture there. Hopefully you'll find some bits that you do like, something a little bit different with some of them hopefully. But as always, the links will be down in the description if you want to pick any of these up. And obviously they're affiliate links, so help support the channel, but you don't pay any extra, the usual. But enough waffling, let's jump right in, see if any of these interest you. First up we've got this Seestern double U-turn, or liqueur double U-turn, depending on where you're getting it from. But it is actually branded with the Seestern at the top. I think that's how you pronounce it, I could be wrong. If you know, let me know down in the comments. But this is a really nice piece. So you can see we've got a high polish on that case on the side, brushed on the top. Got a domed crystal as well. It's only mineral, but it is nice. Would have been even better if it was sapphire. Got a fully printed dial. It's got a pretty decent lume as well. Signed crown. Interesting on the case back as well. So the movement in this is actually the same as this one here, this Mercure, if you've seen the review of that one. So the movement is the Feice M01D. So that's a mechanical movement, hand wind only. But if you want to know more details, check out the review of that one. When it comes to the strap, pretty nice strap, just a canvas one. And we've got quick release as well. And then we've got pretty nice hardware, unsigned buckle. But overall, nice watch. I'll quickly pop up the dimensions on screen now so you can see what they're like. So, pretty good size, especially if you've got a smaller wrist. This is definitely a good choice. When it comes to the water resistance, it's just 50 meters. But for this kind of watch, that's not too bad. So, next up, we've got the San Martin SN036G. So, question is, would you consider this an original design? Yes, it's got a bit of a mixture of a few different kind of watches. If you know what they are, let me know down in the comments. But overall, I think it's just about classed as original for me. But it is really nicely done, as you kind of expect with San Martin. I'll probably put in some macros so you can see that beautiful dial in a bit more detail, as well as some of the little details on this. The case finishing and bracelet finishing, as you'd expect from San Martin, is just fantastic. Screwed links as well. Nice chamfered details on that bracelet. Standard San Martin clasp. And case back. All really good. Got that ceramic bezel as well. Just got a nice action. Absolutely zero ply. And as you expect with San Martin as well, the lume is great. So if there's any negatives with this, it would probably be the movement. So the movements, there's two different options. We've got the Miyota 8215 or the newer 8315, which is basically the same as that, but it has hacking. So with the 8215 especially, you tend to get quite a bit of rotor noise, but I've not noticed it too badly on this one, to be honest. And that's because the case is just so well made, so it kind of dampens a lot of that. When it comes to the dimensions, I'll pop them up on screen again. So you can see we've got pretty nice dimensions, but we have got mail-in links, so it is slightly larger than the ideal 50mm for most people with a 7-inch wrist. But because they curve down pretty quickly, it does still wear nicely. So I'll quickly show you that on wrist as well. And as you can see, it does wear nicely on my 7-inch wrist. So we've got 200 meter water resistance, and we've also got a sapphire crystal on that. So if you're interested in this one, I definitely recommend it. Can't really fault it, bar that movement maybe. Would have been nicer to have possibly a high beat movement, maybe a 9000 series Miyota, but other than that, no issues at all. Now we'll move on to the ones that I'm recommending, and they're also pretty good deals. as well as that other one that I said I've already got on the way. So first up we've got this Sugess Zenith homage. So this is something pretty new, it's only just come out, so it's not actually in the sale, but you can get a little bit extra off if you use the coupons here. And you never know, it might actually come up in the sale possibly, but because it's just come on, it isn't at the moment. So you've got quite a lot of different ones. You've got a green one here, this one which I really like, which has actually got a slightly different minute track design. A few other different colours. They also do it on a bracelet, which does look pretty good. Be the first Sugess I've seen on a bracelet, because I've reviewed quite a few others, which I'll probably leave the link to the playlist I've got down in the description if you haven't seen them. You want to check them out, because they are really, really nice. Not had any issues with any of them. Still got them in my collection, a few of them. Do like them a lot. So when it comes to the specs, we've got the Seagull ST1902 movement. That's a mechanical movement. It's got the swan neck regulator as well. Stainless steel. Sapphire crystal, which is domed, which is nice. I do like a domed crystal, as you probably know. 37mm diameter. It's under that 40mm. It's nice to see more AliExpress watches being under the 40mm. A little bit on the chunky side, but again, you kind of expect that with this kind of movement. Only 50m water resistance, but again, not a diver, so not too big a deal. And importantly, that lug to lug is below 50mm, which for me, on my 7-inch wrist, is ideal. Quickly show you, there we go, got display case back, so looking good. If you haven't seen this before, it is a really nice movement. Pretty old now, pretty basic, but I still think it looks good. I've actually got a little bit of loom there as well. Although, this kind of watch, I wouldn't have thought it'd last all that long. But again, it's not a diver, so you don't really expect it. And there's a closer look at that minute track on certain dial versions. Nice little design touch. Be interesting to see what this bracelet's like. Based on the pictures, it looks pretty good. Got plenty of micro just there, so sizing won't be an issue at all. And then just see some more of them down here. But we'll move on to the next one now. So next up we've got the Seestern 600T homage. Previously checked out the 300T. Was pretty impressed with that one. So I imagine this one will be pretty good as well. And that bracelet's looking pretty nicely integrated there. Yeah, it's got mail-in links, so slight negative maybe. But again, some nice dial colour options. So you should be able to find one you do like. And then when it comes to the dimensions, we've got the NH35, full stainless steel, sapphire crystal. So they're really nice, no issues there at all. Dimensions wise, possibly a touch on the thick side maybe, but most importantly, we've got that under 50mm lug to lug. So for the average wrist, that should be absolutely fine. And then we've got BGW9 on this. Based on previous Seesterns I've checked out, I would have thought that'd be pretty good. And they do have their little party piece as well. Just see if I can find it here. Yeah, there we go, with the lean date wheel. Do appreciate they do that, it's a nice touch. Makes it far more useful at night. And you probably saw as we quickly scrolled past, we've actually got a nice little case back there. That wave and then the little Seestern. You can see we've got 200m water resistance as well. So you should be able to go swimming with this, no problem. Bracelet's looking nicely finished. Doesn't look like it's got any sharp edges there. When it comes to the clasp, it's only a friction-based one, no pushers. Perhaps adding pushers would have been a nice upgrade, but it works well. So again, probably going to be another good option. So next up we've got the Heimmdallr Titanium SKX homage. So I've got the steel version of this, but this titanium one is looking even better, especially with these pretty nice dials as well. Some of which are a bit clearer than others. I think probably the pick of the bunch is this blue one. But I do also quite like this orange as well. So you can see this one is actually in the sale, so that's the price you'll get it for. But again, don't forget to check the coupons. Just add that, see if it'll work. See if you can get a bit more off. Also, you'll be getting a little bit more off with this as well. So that'll automatically come off when you get it into your cart. So you should get a good price on this one. When it comes to the specs, as I said, titanium. So saying they've got a bit of AR on there. I imagine it probably will have a little bit. NH36, so rock solid movement there. Not got to worry about that. That's interesting. Actually says a mil. So it's definitely not based on the pictures. So this is why you've got to be careful with the descriptions, and I don't tend to recommend watches based on these, because you never know what they're like. Sometimes they vary a bit, sometimes they copy and paste them from other listings. But based on most of this, I think it's probably going to be about accurate, but obviously that bit isn't. So you've got 200 meter water resistance, C3 lume, pretty nice dimensions. A little bit odd they include the crown there, but you know what you're getting with an SKX homage. And most importantly, the lug-to-lug is a good size, although we do have male end links, so that will be a little bit larger. So just bear that in mind. You can see that blue dial is looking really nice. Yeah, still quite liking the orange one. But again, I think the blue is the pick of the bunch. Yeah, there's that press clasp again. So they definitely made a bit of a mistake there, but you can upgrade that cheaply enough. I'll leave a link down in the description to where you can pick one up. I use them on quite a few watches. It's always a cheap upgrade to have. And then there's the lume. So really good lume if it's anything like the one I've got. So a good option, I think, especially with it being titanium. For this kind of price, getting a titanium watch is a really good deal. Next up, we've got this Tandorio Pilot's watch. So I've checked out a couple of their watches previously. Again, I'll probably leave a link to the playlist down in the description, so you can check them out, see what they're like. But I was pretty impressed with the value for money you get with them. So we've got a couple of different options here. So we've got this branded version on this leather strap. They also do an unbranded one on more of a vintage kind of style leather strap. So you can get either of them. So nice that they give you the option, because I know the branding might put some people off. Another option they give you is movements. So you can see with the NH35, even pre-sale, you're getting a really good price. But they also do the high beat PT5000 movement for a really good price for a high beat movement. And again, you're getting more off with that as well. So again, you're going to get a cracking deal with this one for a high beat movement. When it comes to the specs, we've got stainless steel case, got 39mm diameter, a little bit on the thick side maybe, with 12.2mm thick, but the all important lug-to-lug is below that 50, so again, really good. We've actually got 200 meter water resistance as well, and sapphire crystal, again, just adding to that value for money. And based on previous Tandorios I've checked out, the lume's probably not going to be too bad either. Yeah, there's some quick pictures showing you what the lume's like, and again, based on my experience of previous watches, pretty good. And there's a quick picture of the case back. So next up we've got this Berny, which you probably know what this one's on margin. But we've got a few different options with this one. So you can have it with the numbers on the dial, on a leather strap. You can also have it without on a Milanese, which is probably the one I'd be going for. They also do a black dial version. And again, on the leather strap. And again, with or without the numbers on the dial. So you should be able to find one you like. And this is currently on sale already for a ridiculously cheap price for an automatic movement. So let's talk about that movement, and obviously you're going to get a bit more off again with that, so it'll be even cheaper. And again, don't forget the coupons to get even more off depending on how much you're spending. It varies quite a bit. So when it comes to the specs, I'm sure there'll be, oh, they even do a custom dial version as well. So if you want to add your own custom logo, that's an option there, if you want to do that. Obviously that'll cost you a little bit more. So we've got 50 meter water resistance. When it comes to the actual specs, it's a bit of a weird way of doing it. So they've got stainless steel, exhibition case back, date window down at the 6. It's only mineral glass with sapphire coating, so not sapphire crystal, but not too bad. It's got a Seagull ST1612 automatic movement. Again, automatic movement at this price is pretty ridiculous, to be honest, especially with it being a Seagull, so you know it's going to be at least half decent because it's from a reputable brand. It's not just a cheap Chinese one. A little bit odd they've got lume on that and not on the actual hour and minute hands, but there you go. And there you go, there's the dimensions. So you've got 40mm diameter, 22mm lug width and 12mm thick, but it doesn't say what the lug-to-lug is, unfortunately. But again, for that kind of price, it's worth just checking it out. If you don't like it, you can always give it to someone as a present or sell it on. You're not going to be losing anything really. So definitely a really good budget option. So last but not least is this Feice. So this is the one I've actually got coming in, but it's not quite arrived yet. So this is obviously a Bauhaus inspired watch, Bauhaus style. It's actually based on the Nomos Metro. So I've actually reviewed another one which was an homage of that a while back, but that was just a really cheap basic movement, really cheap watch. This is a far more premium kind of version of that. So we've got a couple of different dial options. We've got this white one. Then we've also got black. I personally prefer the white, but let me know what you think. Which one do you think looks better? Are you even into the Bauhaus style? I know some people don't like it, but I do really like it. Got quite a few watches with that kind of style in my collection, and one actual proper real thing, which I still need to get around to doing a review for. So we've got the Seagull ST1731, got 40mm diameter, 20mm lug width, 10.5mm thick, which is pretty good, pretty slim. We've only got mineral crystal, no sapphire unfortunately, a little bit disappointing. Only got 30-meter water resistance, but that's not too big a deal. You're not really going to be getting this one wet realistically. Perhaps 50 would have been a little bit better, but I do like it, as I say. Nice little detailing on the crown there. But otherwise, a pretty simple design, as you expect with a Bauhaus watch. Have we got any pictures of the case back? No, it doesn't look like we have. Looks like it comes in nice packaging though. So I'm looking forward to checking this one out when it does arrive. But with this particular one, obviously I can't recommend this because I haven't had experience with this brand at all. The previous ones I'm saying I think will be good. I at least have experience of their other watches. So they've got at least a bit of a track record. So I know more or less what you're going to get. So they're more recommendations, whereas this one is just I think it's going to be interesting. If you like the design, perhaps you want to give it a try. But hope you've enjoyed this video, guys. Something a little bit different, the way I've done it. And I hope you pick up some good stuff during the sale. Let me know what you're going to get, or what you're thinking of getting. And again, as always, links are down in the description if you want to pick up any of these. But that's it for this one. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.